The red pill men on the internet are losing their minds calling Sydney Sweeney mid. All women are catfishes, the question is to what degree. This should be illegal. This is what causes misogyny. And he's not wrong, he's just not right in the way he thinks he is. And of course, we couldn't comment on a woman's body without, dear women, stop getting fat. All of which highlights how ludicrous men's standards for women are. Firstly, it demonstrates that fat shaming and fat phobia has never been about body size, shape, weight, concerns about diet, health, or exercise, or even men's physical preferences. It's only ever been about shaming and degrading women for failing to meet an impossible standard that could never be attained. Second, these are paparazzi pictures invading her privacy as she relaxes at home, showing that women are not allowed to relax even for a moment, and are held to these impossible standards 24/7 every second of every day. In a world where this is not an acceptable standard, this is not acceptable, this is not acceptable, this is not acceptable, it looks like an Infinity Nicky fit. The question has to be asked, what on earth is the standard? Who could ever actually achieve it? What criteria are we using? And the answer, so incredibly disappointing, is proximity. Because these same guys who desperately remind us they cannot look after themselves, dude, that mirror is disgusting, the ones who are only too happy to tear down Margot Robbie and Sydney Sweeney, will generously hype up the attractiveness of women who let them put their hands on them. And when other men come along and predictably call those women mid, will rise to their defense and say it's just an unflattering picture. Though having described them as hot still rates them as a 7, proving the point that this is an impossible standard and all just a manipulative mind game. Men will complain about being catfished while having a completely unrealistic and misguided idea of what women actually look like. I talked before how the inclusion of vellus hair in Horizon Forbidden West had men in an uproar asking why their female protagonist had a beard. There was a viral trend showing what men think no makeup looks like versus what it actually looks like, inspired by the fact that men consistently have no idea what no makeup looks like. Kim Kardashian looks so much better without makeup on. Or saying that they would take Kylie's natural beauty over Kendall's synthetic beauty any day of the week. The fact she probably isn't wearing any makeup and is still stunning. Ah yes, must be Rihanna's natural winged eyeliner. Or my absolute favorite, yo, Taylor Swift without makeup caught me by surprise, she's way prettier without it. What? But nowhere is men's absolute delusion about rebranding what natural means more apparent than when it comes to women's bodies.
I think society's standards for men's bodies is equally, if not worse, than women's. They are all not natural. They're all taking some sort of steroid, some sort of performance-enhancing drug. Zac Efron himself has admitted to taking like prescription diuretics. Now when you compare this to the women in Hollywood, yes, they're all beautiful, extremely skinny, probably starved themselves to get there. But I do believe that most of them are natural. I do not believe that many of these women on screen are taking performance-enhancing drugs that negatively affect their health. In other words, their bodies are achievable naturally.
That women just need to starve themselves in order to achieve that natural look already appears to stretch the definition of that word. But it's also another example of the credibility gap. Hugh Jackman has said he dehydrates himself for 3 days in order to achieve his Wolverine look. Zac Efron has said his Baywatch look isn't really attainable. When Rob McElhenney transformed his body for the 13th season of Always Sunny and was being praised as an inspiration, he was open about exactly what it took. Look, it's not that hard. All you need to do is lift weights 6 days a week, stop drinking alcohol, don't eat anything after 7 p.m, don't eat any carbs or sugar at all, in fact just don't eat anything you like, get the personal trainer from Magic Mike, sleep 9 hours a night, run 3 miles a day, and have a studio pay for the whole thing over a 6 to 7 month span. I don't know why everyone's not doing this. It's a super realistic lifestyle and appropriate body image to compare oneself to. And when these men say this, they are believed. We accept that this standard isn't really attainable, that it takes hours of work, a professional trainer, a carefully controlled diet, and often performance enhancers, supplements, and a dehydration regime. It is not natural or attainable for any but a select few, and even then, only for a brief period of time. But when women openly come out and say the same thing, like Adriana Lima, who detailed extensive workouts twice a day, a carefully controlled diet, supplements, going without solid food for 9 days before a show, and her own dehydration regime, well that's just natural and perfectly attainable. Even though it is widely known that the industry turning a blind eye to the bullying and shaming of models into starvation has been killing them for decades, or leaves women with lifelong medical complications from the eating disorders they pick up as a result of trying to emulate these natural standards. Now, Blake makes the distinction that women aren't pressured into taking performance enhancers. So, quick recap, throughout the modeling boom of the 90s and 2000s that gave rise to supermodels, an impossibly thin beauty standard was promoted that relied on models eating as little as possible or not at all, leaving models who had to work long hours on shoots sluggish, tired, and unable to focus. Fortunately, the industry had a solution: pushing these young women, often underage, into performance enhancers, the kind you can't get at GMC, to keep their energy up. So much so that expense lines such as fruit or flowers for the model became widely known euphemisms as a way to put these performance enhancers in the budget for a shoot. Beverly Johnson, Amber Valletta, and Bridget Malcolm have all openly talked about their struggles with substance use as a result of the pressure inside the industry to take these performance enhancers. And in the last few years, Ozempic has become the latest performance enhancer that celebrities have turned to in order to maintain that totally natural look, with model Lottie Moss hospitalized over her own struggle with it and body image. So while men openly recognize the body standards to which they are held are an impossible body standard only a few can attain, we continue to hold women to an equally impossible body standard they are forced to use performance enhancers to attain. We just ignore the physical and mental toll it takes on those women, the deaths it causes, and label it natural. And then relentlessly shame women for not putting in the simple effort it takes to maintain that look every single day, every single moment for the rest of their lives. And if these men put even half the effort they put into tearing down women that do not know they exist, into retrospection of their own internal ugliness and insecurities, then they wouldn't be so starved for attention and affection that their only criteria for a woman is the same as a $6 pizza, hot and ready. And maybe if they did that internal work, they wouldn't need to resort to manipulation, deceit, and gaslighting in order to prove to women that they're valuable.